Tim Brown is probably one of the players that a lot of people didn't understand the mechanics of a wide receiver, and you were a true mechanic, an engineer. They were all about fame and glitz and running down the field, but my dad told me to watch you. My dad said, hey, he's a technician, and you probably gave him hell, so that's probably why he came to that conclusion. So honored to be with you.
Appreciate that, brother.
Honored to learn from you as a young wide receiver. And now on this side,
Yeah.
we get to be businessmen and make big things happen. So before we get into anything, what are you doing now? Tell us about yourself.
Oh my God, man, too much, right? No, maybe not. My wife said not enough, but I say too much. But I have a couple companies, man. I have a oil and gas company, and I have a debit card company, and we're doing some work with the Hispanic group with the debit card, trying to find a way for them to send money back to their countries a little easier than they've been doing it before. So we're that close to getting this thing going. And the oil and gas thing, man, we've been doing that for about 6 years, so it's been going good. So, yeah.
What's the hardest lesson you had to learn going from the field to the boardroom leading these businesses?
Sometimes in the, what I found in the locker room, you have to be careful about how you said certain things to certain guys. There's certain guys were a little sensitive about, so the way you talk to one guy, you couldn't necessarily talk to another guy, you know what I mean? In a boardroom, you don't really have to worry about that because you're paying them, right? So you listen to what I'm saying because I think, you try not to overuse that, but at the same time, it's important that people understand where you're coming from and the concept you're trying to get accomplished, Yeah.
So every time you look at any highlight, you got that look in your eyes. You're as a wide receiver, you look like a linebacker in your eyes. There's a mindset that was pushing that, and that was the expression of what was happening here.
Mm-hmm.
That mindset served you well in the league. Does that still serve you well in business?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It has to, man, because I can't go from the field and be great and then want to be off the field great, but I'm not doing the same thing. I'm not dedicating myself. I'm not, when it comes to my job, if my wife is well, my kids are well, my mom is well, the family is well, then there's really nothing else that matters. You know what I mean? Everything else, it's just stuff that gets in the way that will, derail you if you allow it to, So sometimes we come to the field and we got that look, you know what I mean? Athletes get it. Regular people don't get it. They don't understand. So you have to be a little careful about, But at the same time.
So on that fact, why do you believe that these large corporations, Fortune 500 companies, should look to hire former athletes to help lead their businesses?
Well, look, they want to see you do certain things. If you don't have the degrees, if you don't have those things, because that's the way it's been done in the past. But I think so many guys now are having successful enough businesses that, people are starting to understand, maybe these guys, we should look at hiring them or whatever. But when you look at the Woodsons and all these guys, they doing their own deal. They don't want to be hired by nobody, you know what I mean? And that's one of the things about being in our position is, we can go and start our own company instead of having to matriculate up through somebody else's company,
I think that's a superpower, and we'll ask you this last question. We get back to eating and drinking and having a good time.
Oh, good, brother.
The superpower, in my opinion, is the agility, the ability to move on the fly. Audible. I got to change right now. Defense just changed.
Yeah.
And we jump into the business world and do the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Tell us about that superpower, how important that is, why, even if guys don't have a gold jacket, maybe they're looking for a job. Tell us about that. Unpack
look,
that.
I'm the commissioner of a small arena football league right now, right? So the owner calls me today and says to me, hey, man, we really need to, work on our media for next year, right? I was like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. I was like, I got somebody in mind, I come downstairs, just happened to bump into Tracy Perlman, who is over NFL Entertainment, right? You know what I mean? Hey, Tracy, this is what I got going. Hey, Tim, send me an email. Let's work on it. And we're going to make it happen. You know what I mean?
That's the network.
That-
the superpower
and
is the
people,
network.
That's a superpower, brother. You know, I tell people all the time. My brother used to call me back in the day. We had a shoe company, right? And we were trying to get in Foot Locker and all these, you know.
Yeah.
And he called me the best cold caller in the world because I would call anybody.
Right.
All they can do is say no.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of where I stand now and where all of us stand who played in the sport is we have the ability to call anybody, and with name recognition, they're going to get on the phone. I'm not telling you you're going to get a deal, but you will get a phone call.
So you're in oil and gas, you're also in fintech, and you're in sports. What does winning look like for you now?
Man, look, let me tell you, man. Unfortunately, in the oil and gas, if you're not doing $1 billion a year, you ain't doing nothing. You know, so my little $8, $9, $10 million we doing is good. I'm happy with it, but we got a long way to go, right? And we're working on some deals now. You know, this fintech deal, I'm telling you, brothers, is going to be huge. Wow. Because these Hispanics have already signed up with us and they're ready to go. You know what I mean? So, you know, and what I do in the sports world with the arena is really therapy for me, you know, because I'm able to give back to some young guys. You know, it's arena football. You're paying these guys $500 a week. You feel bad about it until the brother come up to you after the game and say, man, thank you. Because if not for you, I don't know what I'll be doing right now. This keep me going, you know what I mean? So I think from that standpoint, there are different levels of, you know, what success looks like. But I got the $1 billion and I got the $500 guy saying, hey, man, thank you. You know what I mean? So for me, it's all worth it.
No, that's giving back in a big way. Thank you.
Yeah.
God bless you with your endeavors.
Appreciate
Wish
it.
you more luck, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.